There exists a book so mysterious, so powerful, that even those who have encountered it often fail to grasp its full meaning. The Voice of the Silence, written by Helena Blavatsky, is not just another spiritual text. It is a portal to higher consciousness, a guide to mastering reality itself. But why has this book remained hidden in plain sight? Why do so few people discuss its true teachings? The answer lies in the depth of its knowledge. This book does not simply offer wisdom. It demands transformation. It is a manual for those who seek true enlightenment, those willing to silence the illusions of the world and hear the whisper of the infinite. To understand the weight of this book, we must first understand its author. Helena Blavatsky was not an ordinary spiritual thinker. She was a woman ahead of her time, a seeker who traveled across the world in search of esoteric knowledge. From Tibet to India, she studied with mystics, delving into ancient, hidden teachings that most people would never access. Her mission? To bring this knowledge to those who were ready. But there was a problem. The truths she uncovered challenged established beliefs, religions, and societal structures. They suggested that reality was far more malleable than we were led to believe, that the mind, when properly trained, could bend the very fabric of existence, and that silence, true, deep inner silence, was the key to unlocking this power. But Blavatsky didn't claim to be the sole creator of these teachings. She insisted that the Voice of the Silence was based on secret Eastern texts that had been guarded for centuries. Some believe she was referring to the Book of Dzyan, an ancient manuscript supposedly containing the original wisdom of humanity, a knowledge so profound it was nearly erased from history. What makes this even more intriguing is that the Voice of the Silence was designed as a practical guide, a roadmap for those willing to walk the path of spiritual mastery. Unlike many spiritual texts that remain theoretical, this book provides a direct path to transcendence. But here's the question: why have you never heard of it? Why is this book not discussed in mainstream spiritual circles? The answer is simple: because it threatens the illusion of control. If people truly understood its teachings, if they applied its principles, the entire foundation of power structures would shake. Because once you silence the noise of the external world and hear the true voice within, you become ungovernable. You no longer seek validation from the outside. You no longer fall prey to fear, manipulation, or self-doubt. You begin to see reality for what it truly is. And that, my friend, is the first step toward true power. Now, let's uncover the most dangerous truth hidden within the Voice of the Silence. The idea that reality itself is an illusion, and your mind is the architect. This is not just philosophy. It is the very foundation of esoteric knowledge that has been deliberately buried for centuries. Blavatsky makes it clear. The world you perceive is a projection, a veil that blinds you from seeing the true nature of existence. And here's where it gets unsettling. This veil is maintained by your own inner dialogue, the constant stream of thoughts that trap you in the illusion of separateness. Ancient wisdom has always hinted at this. The Tibetan mystics, the Hindu sages, the Hermetic philosophers, all spoke of a hidden force that shapes reality. They called it Maya, the grand illusion, the dream of the world. But what does this actually mean for you? It means that the moment you learn to quiet your mind, you begin to see past the illusion. And this is precisely what the Voice of the Silence teaches. That inner silence is the key to awakening. Imagine if for just one moment, you could stop the endless thoughts, the self-doubt, the fear, the noise of the world. What would remain? Pure consciousness. An unshakable awareness that cannot be manipulated, cannot be controlled. Blavatsky warns that most people are asleep within the illusion, their energy drained by distractions, false beliefs, and artificial fears. But the few who can master silence become something more. They become co-creators of reality. This is why silence has been revered by secret traditions, from the initiates of the Egyptian mystery schools to the Zen monks of Japan. They knew that when you enter a deep state of stillness, something extraordinary happens. You disconnect from the collective illusion and reconnect with your true power. But here's the part that's been deliberately erased from history. This practice is dangerous to those who seek to control you. Why? Because a silent mind is a free mind. A person who has mastered inner silence cannot be influenced by propaganda, by fear tactics, by manipulation. They become immune to the external forces that dictate how most people think and act. This is why, in many ancient traditions, true spiritual seekers were feared by those in power. They saw reality as it truly was, and because of this, they could no longer be controlled. So, let me ask you, when was the last time you truly sat in silence? No distractions. No phone. No thoughts racing through your mind. Just stillness. If you've never done this, then you've never tapped into the deepest power hidden within you. And if you think this is just a mental exercise, think again. The ability to silence your mind has real, tangible effects on your energy, your manifestation abilities, and even your biology. It rewires your brain. It changes your vibrational state. It allows you to access knowledge that most people will never even realize exists. And this is only the beginning. Because once you master silence, you unlock the next level of reality manipulation, one that Blavatsky hints at, but never openly reveals. What is this hidden power? And why is it that only the select few throughout history have ever truly mastered it? The answer is deeper than you can imagine. Now, let's dive into one of the most hidden and forbidden secrets within the voice of the silence: the power of vibrational resonance. Blavatsky hints at something most people have never realized, that your thoughts, emotions, and even the words you speak create frequencies that shape reality. And if you learn to master them, you are no longer just an observer of the world. You become an active participant in its creation. Here's the part that no one dares to speak of. Ancient mystics understood that sound and vibration do not just influence reality, they construct it. This is why mantras, sacred chants, and even the inner silence Blavatsky speaks of are so powerful. The idea isn't just that these practices calm the mind. They literally attune your consciousness to a higher frequency. The Tibetan monks who chant for hours, the Sufi mystics who spin in ecstatic states, the Kabbalists who chant divine names, all of them are accessing the same secret. Vibration controls perception. And here's where it gets even deeper. Blavatsky writes of something she calls the soundless sound, a vibration so subtle yet powerful that it transcends normal hearing. She suggests that when a person has fully silenced their inner dialogue and dissolved their attachments to the illusion of reality, they begin to perceive this hidden frequency. What is it? The original creative force. The very sound that brought existence into being. In ancient Hindu traditions, this was called nada. In Hermeticism, it was the secret power behind the word of creation. But why is this knowledge suppressed? Because the moment you realize that everything is vibration, you also realize how easily reality can be manipulated. Think about it. If words, sounds, and frequencies shape your thoughts, emotions, and even your body at a cellular level, what happens when certain forces deliberately bombard you with low vibrational frequencies? What happens when mass media, chaotic environments, and even the food and water you consume keep you locked in a lower state of awareness? Blavatsky hints that most people unknowingly trap themselves in lower frequencies through their thoughts and emotions. Every time you dwell on fear, doubt, anger, or limitation, you reinforce a low energy state, one that is easier to control, easier to manipulate. But those who understand how to elevate their vibration become nearly untouchable. They enter a higher state of awareness, one that no external force can infiltrate. So how do you use this knowledge? It starts with awareness. Pay attention to how your energy shifts depending on what you hear, say, and think. Experiment with silence, chant sacred sounds, or simply listen to frequencies that elevate your state. Because once you start tuning in to higher vibrations, you begin to see the illusion for what it really is. And that's when the real transformation begins. Now, let's uncover one of the most mysterious and controversial teachings hidden within the voice of the silence: the illusion of the material world. Blavatsky, drawing from esoteric Buddhism and ancient mystical traditions, suggests that everything we perceive as real is nothing more than a projection, an illusion fabricated by the mind. But what does this really mean? And more importantly, how can you use this knowledge to reshape your reality? Let's start with a concept found in both Eastern and Western mystical traditions: Maya, the grand illusion. The ancient Vedantic texts state that the physical world is not the ultimate reality. It is merely a veil over something far greater. Blavatsky builds on this, revealing that what we experience as solid is actually nothing more than vibrating energy fields shaped by consciousness. In modern physics, this echoes the idea that atoms are 99.9999% empty space, and yet we perceive a world of seemingly solid objects. Why? Because our mind constructs it that way. This is where it gets even more unsettling. If everything is an illusion shaped by perception, then who or what is programming the illusion? This is the question that has been deliberately buried for centuries. If you look closely at Blavatsky's writings, you'll notice a pattern. She suggests that those who understand the illusion of reality hold the greatest power over it. And this is where we uncover a dangerous truth. Imagine for a moment that a small group of individuals or institutions understood this knowledge, that reality is programmable. Would they share it with the masses? Or would they use it to construct a collective illusion designed to keep people distracted, disempowered, and chained to a false sense of reality? Blavatsky hints at the latter. The world's greatest rulers, secret societies, and elite organizations have always obsessed over hidden knowledge, and the power to manipulate perception is at the very core of it. Think about it. Everything you consume, media, news, entertainment, even education, shapes the way you interpret reality. And if your perception of reality can be influenced, then so can your beliefs, decisions, and even your emotions. This is why certain teachings, including those in the voice of the silence, have been ignored, ridiculed, or actively suppressed. Because if enough people wake up to the truth, that they are co-creators of their own reality, then the entire system of control begins to crumble. So, what can you do? The first step is to deprogram yourself. Start questioning everything you accept as real. Ask yourself, is this my belief, or was it implanted into my mind by external forces? Learn to distinguish between external programming and your true inner knowing. The more you detach from the collective illusion, the more you begin to see the hidden patterns shaping the world around you. Blavatsky warns that few are truly ready to step beyond the illusion, because doing so requires letting go of everything you thought was real. But for those who dare, the reward is profound, absolute freedom, because when you no longer believe in the illusion, it can no longer control you. And that is the ultimate secret they never wanted you to discover. Now, we arrive at the final and most dangerous revelation in the voice of the silence. A teaching so disruptive that it threatens the very foundation of the illusion we've been conditioned to accept. If everything in our world is a projection of consciousness, then the real power lies not in external forces, but within you. And yet, for centuries, society has been designed to keep this knowledge buried, distorted, or dismissed as mere fantasy. Blavatsky's final warning is clear. The greatest battle is not against external oppressors, but against your own mind. The illusions you have absorbed, limiting beliefs, fear-based programming, societal conditioning, these are the real chains keeping you trapped. And the moment you break free from them, you become untouchable. This is the secret that all true spiritual masters, mystics, and enlightened beings have understood. So, how do you break free? The process begins with a radical shift in perception. You must train your mind to stop accepting reality as something fixed and external, and instead start consciously shaping it. This is where Blavatsky's esoteric teachings align with the law of mentalism, one of the Hermetic principles. All is mind. If reality is a mental construct, then the way to reshape it is by mastering your thoughts, emotions, and energy. Let's take this even further. In The Voice of the Silence, Blavatsky speaks of the inner soundless voice, a state of absolute stillness and knowing that transcends the illusions of the physical world. When you reach this state, you no longer react to the world as it is presented to you. Instead, you begin to reshape it from the inside out. This is the secret behind manifestation, energy manipulation, and reality bending. Ancient mystics, Buddhist monks, and hidden initiates throughout history have used specific techniques to tap into this power. Here's one you can try. 1. Silence the mind. For a brief moment, stop the constant mental chatter that reinforces the illusion of separateness. This is the gateway to true perception. 2. Enter the observer state. Watch your thoughts as if they are not yours. This practice detaches you from conditioned beliefs and reveals how much of your reality is self-created. 3. Reprogram the illusion. Choose a new reality by focusing your intent on a specific outcome, visualizing it as already real. The more emotional energy you invest in this new belief, the faster reality conforms to it. And now, the most unsettling truth. This is exactly what the world's elite have been doing for centuries. They understand these laws. They know how to shape perception, influence belief systems, and construct a shared illusion that keeps people trapped within a reality they never consciously chose. But once you understand this, the game changes. Because now, you hold the power. The moment you recognize that reality is not something you passively experience, but something you actively create, you become the architect of your own world. This is the final lesson that the Voice of the Silence whispers to those who are ready to hear it. You were never powerless. You were simply taught to forget.